Welcome back. Well, all our correspondents are in all over the place. We did tell you that we'll bring you what's going on where they are as much as we can. But let's get back to Katsina, where the president voted. Our correspondent Ibrahim Adra is there at the moment. Ibrahim, again, go ahead and tell us. Well, we didn't get the bit of what the president did say afterwards. So what was it that he said afterwards?
Okay, it's a little bit noisy here, as you can imagine, but I can hear you now. The president voted. It was a pretty smooth process, as you can see. It didn't take long before he was able to do that, and he was jovial and cracking jokes with his wife, who voted first before he did. And then when he came to address the media, as you can see, it was pretty rowdy. The arrangement was for everyone to stay behind the line, but as soon as some reporters broke that line, it all went crazy. But what he was saying was that the process has been smooth and that he is happy with the process. There hasn't been any hitches. But most importantly, when asked whether he will concede defeat if he lost at the polls, the president said he is going to congratulate himself because he is sure that he will be winning this election. Now, he has left now. Other people are on the line, as you can imagine, a whole lot of queue. Well before 8 o'clock, there was a long line of males and females on separate lines waiting to vote. So that process will be continuing now. Back to you, studio.
Is there how is the polling unit responding to any of the sheets of voter register that they paste on the wall, if at all they do? Do they look to that first before they get to the queue, or they go straight to the queue and ignore the register pasted there?
Okay, well, we had the privilege from the point where I saw some of the ballots. What I did notice perhaps would be, what of his interest is, while Sheung was going on and on about how to fold the ballot paper and put them in the box, that would appear to me to present some challenges going forward, because we saw the president vote and the folding wasn't what Sheung was showing us in the studio, you know, rolling, flattening out before you put it in the box. And I imagine that a whole lot of other voters today will probably face that issue. Now, it's a small box, as we can see. So if those papers are not properly folded and flattened, my guess is that by the time they finish voting, we might have to perhaps request for a new box. I don't know if that is part of the provision, but my thinking is if they go in without being flattened, tendency is that box will be so full that voters may not be able to drop in ballots subsequently. So I'm sure it will form a subject of conversation there in the studio. What happens if a box is filled to the brim and papers can't go inside? Back to you, studio.
All right, thank you, Ibrahim.
Officers must be warned not to press the ballot papers down, because there's a tendency for that to happen if the box is full.
Oh, okay.
So what would be the alternative?
It could mess up, I don't know, the ink.
The ink?
Yeah.
Well, INEC says, we'll put that to INEC. I know they've spoken about the ink.
They told us that the ink is fine, but then, I mean, I have my fears about the ink.
Well, Mr. Festus Okoye is still in Abuja, so I think we might as well just ask him. But don't forget, yes, he did speak about some of the issues which you raised. So we'll see if we could get it across in terms of validity of the ballot or not. Mr. Okoye, could you tell us then, if in the event, maybe, I don't know if to use unlikely, but this is likely to happen, if someone takes the ballot that is supposed to go to House of Reps and drops it in the box for the senatorial, does it become invalid by that singular action?
Exactly, because all the ballots will be counted separately. We are going to count the ballots for the presidential election separately and get done with that, and then the one for senatorial will be counted separately, the one for House of Representatives will be counted separately. And if you look at the ballot boxes, you can see that there's a tag on it indicating which one is for presidential elections, which one is for senatorial, and which one is for House of Representatives. And we have also trained the presiding officers that before they start, they need to tell the voters who are already on the queue what the procedures are so that they will know which one is for presidential ballot, which one is for senatorial, and which one is for House of Representatives. And your colleague in the studio, I also had her. The issue is that the Independent National Electoral Commission prints 3 sets of voters register, the 2 black and one colored. It has always been the procedure, and the ordinary people know this, that we normally paste 1 set of the voters register on the wall so that people can check their names, make sure that they're in the right polling unit, and also check their numbers. Some presiding officers are very, very creative and innovative. What they do is that the moment you come to the polling unit, they give you a number. So when they give you a number, you can go and check your name on the voters register that is on the wall. If your number is 100 on the wall, the moment you come, they ask you which one is your number. You just tell them, and then they just roll out to page 100, and they'll see your name there, and the process is very, very smooth. So I think it's one of the transparent procedures put in place by the Electoral Commission to make sure that people do not get to the polling unit, and then there's so much confusion relating to whether their names are on the voters register and whether their names are not there. So I think that that has always been the procedure. On the issue of the ballot box and whether it can get through,
Okay, I was going to ask another question because someone just tweeted at us now that some of the INEC officials are not there at their posts at this time. Is that likely to cause some?
Well, that would definitely cause some kind of crisis if INEC officials are not there. But what's polling station? Because
it's actually in Lagos.
In Lagos?
Yeah. Mr. Okoye.
You were talking about,
okay, yes.
Mr. Okoye, go ahead. You were talking about the ink and pressing the ballot. Could you please go ahead?
Yes, the point I'm making is that the ink that the Independent National Electoral Commission is using for this particular election is what they call the quick dry. The moment you thumbprint, it dries up. The moment you are putting by the time the ballot paper is in the ballot box, the ink is already dried up. So the possibility of it messing up the entire ballot is not there. But what we advise the presiding officers to do is to also address all the voters on the queue in relation to how they are supposed to handle the ballot papers. Now, if the box is filled up, if you press it down, you can still vote. But we have also put in place a plan B, contingency plans, so that if the ballot box is filled up and there's no way of dealing with it, we can call for a backup from the supervisory presiding officer. But most of the polling units are in such a way that you have between 500 and 750 persons voting. So the possibility of just 750 people voting and the ballot box being filled up is simply not there. But if that possibility or that challenge occurs, we have the possibility to address it as quickly as possible.
I know you've been monitoring and also perhaps have seen how the president went about his casting his vote. But he barely folded it according to how the INEC boss, Mahmoud Yakubu, instructed. Is that an infraction?
Well, the presiding officer was supposed to ask the president to stay on the queue, and then he was supposed to address all the voters on the queue, and the president was supposed to listen and then fold the ballot in the manner that the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission prescribed they should be followed. But maybe the presiding officer was overwhelmed and didn't do what he was instructed to do.